I'll see you got 30 minutes.
We ought to be able to get through this.
Latour's took up way more time.
Hey, Margaret,
We can talk for 4 days.
if you would forbid Finkel and Gephardt from speaking, these would be quick meetings.
You can't speak anymore, you've had your time.
He's had way too much time.
Okay. Called this, like I said, I've called this meeting back to order. All the participants that I had called the roll earlier are still here, so that remains the same. Okay, anybody, I think we have one on pigs. Do we have anyone else that wants to
There's
speak?
one more public speaking card filed for Mr. Jim Brand, who would like to finish his discussion on pigs.
Wait. Probably should have started with the pigs.
Well, I tried, but Margaret stopped me. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I think it's much more appropriate we have some levity now after that very serious workshop. So I passed everybody out a picture at the Board of Supervisors meeting a month ago. I brought up the issue of pigs in Hampton Park. And I gave Chris a video clip which he played for everybody. You saw about 20 beautiful little piggies. Chris' staff gave me the name of a company that traps pigs. And we contacted them and they did a great job. As you can see from the picture, we got 2 of them. These are 2 females. They each weighed about 150 pounds. They were skinned, butchered, and the meat was donated to a Fort Myers food pantry. As of today, and I walk Hampton Park every day, every street, we've had no further damage from pigs. So they got the message. And you all know pigs are smarter than horses. If you ever watch Johnny Carson, he would have experts come and talk about horses versus pigs.
They wouldn't have got out of their lane in the track, would they?
No, sir, they would have won that race in the right lane. Except the jockey is being sued.
No, I know, I saw that.
Yeah. So, anyway, thank you, board. Thank you, Chris, for your staff giving us that reference. They did a good job, and the rest of the pigs learned. They probably went to Stony, no, thank you.
No, our coyotes eat those boards.
Yeah, that's right.
Good.
Coyotes trump, well, actually, probably the other way around. Boards are mean animals.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. All right, with no one else to speak, I guess we go to the 2020 budget. Oh, sorry, I
Put
didn't
another
know.
one in.
Did you put in 2 requests?
I did, I sure did.
Late prioritization.
I'm sorry, what?
Late prioritization.
I figured I would leave the complaining to this time. Hi, Flavia Walsh, Magnolia Lakes. I wanted to talk, going back into, we're going to start phase 2, and I don't recall exactly when we said, I know somebody asked for that. Originally, we were prioritized to phase 3 from the get-go. During the process, I'm not sure exactly what year, either year 1 or 2 after the original report came out, they moved us to phase 2. And
Well, we did a reprioritization after phase 1.
I think we were halfway through phase 1.
Half through phase 1, we did do 1 reprioritization because the amount of time and there was changes.
Yeah, if you asked me the 15 months in phase 2, I couldn't tell you. I don't remember.
So I'm gonna summarize it. We're phase 3, and then I was coming here pretty much every week, and we were put to phase 2. And then suddenly we couldn't get us done on phase 2 because they needed to do it technically on phase 1 because it got really bad, but because funds were not allocated and were not, included, you guys decided that you're gonna use other monies and we're gonna call it repairs.
But we did a Band-Aid project.
Correct.
Is what we did.
So then I was okay with letting me put 83 back to phase 3 because you're gonna do some of the work now. Well, from the 3 times that we started that work, none of the times the work was completed, ever. So I'm really asking, because I know we can make an amendment to the prioritization and for the money, to put 83 back on phase 2. Because if we set the funds aside for that repair, it was approved by the board, and it wasn't done, and that was the only reason why we said, okay, have us back on phase 3, because you're gonna do something about it now. But nothing was done.
Do you know how much, Chris, how much was spent on, of what we approved, how much was spent?
$38,000 was budgeted, and we just spent probably $3,000, and came up with the fix they were gonna try, but they brought it up, and it wasn't acceptable after we went in. We're actually gonna take it back.
Do we believe that, let's just use the original quote of 38K is still around the price to?
To fix the washouts that are on the lake, you could address them in a limited way.
So going back to that, and to the price. On 2014, and then I got this report from Elle that she prepared for me on February 9, and including to the board, February 9, 2017. March 10 in 2014, we had 11 washouts and to repair. In December of the same year, those repairs went to 15. And the cost to repair them at that time, just to repair, not restart everything, was $123,000. On May 1st, 2015, we had a different vendor going out there, then find the same exact 15 washouts. And then the cost for repair went to $11,375. To me, that was significant. We were going from 120 to 15. So either clearly they're not using the same method or nothing near the same method.
And this 38,000 is to fix that same thing, right?
Well, yes,
Okay,
and
so
then.
that's a third quote.
So what I'm gonna go is, I have 5 quotes for the last 5 years that the board has given, or staff that has given the board, but no action's been taken. So 2016, another quote went out, now it's 51,000. And, you know, I went out there, I got quotes for you guys, your staff got quotes for you guys. It's just the follow-up on the work actually getting done, it's not getting done. Or the direction from staff to the vendor, start the work, it's not getting done.
One of those repairs was Copeland, that was gonna
Mhm.
use coconut matting. Did that?
Correct.
And I thought that got started, did it not?
It did,
ever?
that started, they started from 13200, which is right in the front of the lake, and they did half of the pond. And I guess either funds ran out, or they decided they were not gonna do it, so they didn't do it the other side of the pond, so literally only half was done. And then they stopped for a few years. And then the following repair is the one that Chris just mentioned, which is those humps that we have with it, I think we have 7 or 9.
This project gets started, not completed, and we don't know about it, or.
And it's gonna bring me back to another point. On February 2nd, I think that's when, on May 2nd, we had the meeting, and I noticed in the agenda that some stuff was regards to Magdalena Lakes into the basin and catching and cleaning up the storm drains. So I requested from Gateway Services to give me what was done and so forth. I did get a report. And on that report, for my surprise, it had the homeowner's address, and it had the work, and it said work completed. That's on the 2nd. On the 9th, I called the CDD because we're flooding in Magnolia Lakes, severe flooding. Come to find out, they left the plugs on all those drains, and 4 drains. We had water to 2 feet to people's residence. So my tower was there, got out of his truck with water up to his knee, and I'm like, what happened? He's like, well, forgot the plugs. I'm like, that's not good enough. Didn't you complete the job on May 2nd? He didn't like it, but definitely didn't care. So when something gets done and completed, like, do you check it? You don't check it. It's, to me, it's just like what the right is doing, the left has no idea. It's just, like, you guys are not aware the repairs are getting done, or when they're getting done, and you guys getting notifications that things are getting completed, and they clearly are not getting completed. It's just beyond frustrating, it's embarrassing. I showed you guys the pictures of the algae. I don't know, maybe if you guys are not gonna do it, and I'm gonna ask for you guys to maybe amend the loan to include 83 and make us phase 2, because that can be done. I spoke with Tetra Tech and they said that's something that they can easily be done. I asked Tetra Tech, when was the last time as an engineer firm you went to my pond and you took a look at it? And he goes, well, I don't recall it, and he says, well, your pond's pretty bad. Yeah, I know.
So I guess we can, I mean, no one objects, we should at least have Tetra Tech go out, assess the pond, and if it meets the criteria for that phase 2, we just make, have it for consideration to be included?
Well, it's a little more complicated. We have to go back and have a facility plan addendum, public hearing, the whole 9 yards, just for that one pond. It's not impossible, but it can be done, and just add it. But I agree with you, I like the idea, have Danny Tyler go up there, take a look at it, and see if there's any reason why 83 can be added to the list. So instead of 15, we have 16, or 16 be 17.
Yeah.
What company left the plugs in?
That time.
That's how.
That's how.
No, they had the plugs in because they were cleaning the storm drains and that heavy rain moved in and dumped 3 inches. And she called about it and they were already on their way because they have a pump set up in case that happens instead of pulling.
Oh, so there wasn't left in there, it was just
No, it
happened to
wasn't
glitch
left
it.
in there. And they started the pump and when the pump wasn't working fast enough, they went and pulled the plugs draining. So it just, you know, that heavy cell went over it and they weren't expecting it. And when they saw it coming in, they were already on their way here.
The problem is that we're talking about 2 different issues at Magnolia Lakes, both of which are bad. We've got the erosion issues, related issues, which are easy, in my opinion, easy to fix. We've got the water quality issue, which is a totally different story. We have tried a lot of stuff. We even tried to do what should have been done in the engineering way of doing it the right way, was to divert the water going to Hampton Park through Magnolia Lakes. But somebody doesn't have any you-know-what at the county and wouldn't change the development order, or allow it to be changed, and the school didn't want to do it, so consequently, we're set there in the same position of not enough water going through and turning Magnolia Lakes over.
Just,
Well, there's-
this is completely like, from a layman's point of view, what feeds into that lake?
Nothing.
Nothing. The
So,
water
So
that
can
falls
you,
on their
could you
street.
technically drain that lake?
yes, you know how much that will cost?
No, they had to have,
If you want to
here, hold on,
repair it, you
Now,
don't-
hold on, we may have an answer here.
Stormwater retention.
We might have an answer here, something to help
No,
it.
Tim,
When that
I-
school builds, as I recall, if
The
we were
wetland?
part of it, that wetland's gonna go. The reason that pond is there and at that high elevation is because of that
Correct.
dinky wetland over there across the street from her house.
So that's what I was gonna
If
bring
that
it up.
wetland goes, we may be able to
To
lower
lower
that
it.
pond level and try to get at least some more turnover in that pond. But I don't think that's gonna solve the water quality because we need large volumes of water.
And so here's the thing, with the aerators, the studies that were done with all the aerator heads that we have now, it's turning over once every 24 hours versus 3 days that was taken before. But that, and that's the point, when we're getting our tests and we're seeing all this fertilizer and all this grass clipping, and that's what, the thing is, that water never leaves there, so it's concentrated in there. So yes, it may look like there's a lot of fertilizer, but you drive to Magnolia and you look at the sod and it's not that.
The pond's about 12 inches higher than it needs to be, and that volume of water just, it sets there.
Yeah.
It just sets there.
So that's what I have. The main reason why we couldn't lower the structure at that time was because we needed to irrigate the wetland backwards. And now we don't have to do it anymore because the wetland no longer exists. So I don't see why, but we as Magnolia Lakes, as the HOA, cannot apply for that permit. The CDD has to do that because you guys are the entity. So I would be asking to, in addition to that, apply for an amendment to lower that structure, to then get some of the water out. And we know we're gonna see aesthetic issues, which the water is gonna go down real fast, but hopefully by that time, if we're in phase 2, we're going to get the littorals, we're gonna get the rocks, or whatever needs to be fixed. So it's not gonna be, you know, it's all get it done at once, but it needs to be together.
But that's the whole point. We get that weir lowered, and water that comes in off of a rain event, instead of stored and making it worse, it'll start
Runs out.
causing to overflow. And that would help it. I like the idea. Let's get Tetra Tech in there and make those recommendations and go from there.
Okay.
And have that done pretty quick.
Mrs. Flaherty, I think you had a comment?
I just wanted to be, well, Chris actually answered it. I wanted to know why nobody went and checked those plugs, and why there was no.
Oh, okay.
And we also had a problem, I think, how long did it go on, where the neighbors were feeding the hundreds of birds in the corner
Yeah.
of the property that.
But that has subsided. That did happen for a good 6 months, and we had legal involved, and it was, you know, but to that point, when you're looking at 2014, that homeowner didn't buy his house until 2018, so.
So, Chris, so you have an action to reach out to Tetra Tech?
I can do that.
Yeah, sure.
And
Good
to,
morning.
and to save the district money, when all the littorals were killed, they were killed because of the overuse of copper by aquagenics. I believe there was 26 treatments or something like that.
Sophie.
And George was here at that meeting, and I brought it up. And at that meeting, he said, fine, if it was because we overdid it, we'll go ahead and fix it. And they were willing at that time to plant everything at no cost to the district.
And your pond 83 has a littoral.
Oh, mine,
requirement.
yeah, I 4,059 littoral is very specific where they need to be planted and the 5 different types, and guess what, mine are all the expensive ones.
And all the trees.
Yes, so, you know, we can go back to aquagenics and, you know, and have them do it. But I went to the point that I did get a quote from aquagenics. When I got the quote, it was 1,500, when you guys got the quote, it was 3,000 for the same thing. And I gave that up to you guys too. So, yeah. So that's all I have. And I don't think you guys have any questions for me, right?
You're on our radar.
Okay.
Anyone else sign up?
Mr. Gepper would like to.
You were supposed to
told me
not
to be
say
quiet.
anything else.
That's why I had to sign up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but before you start, do you guys need to make a motion to give directions to Tetra Tech? Or you
I already did, I told,
You did? Go ahead.
I told Chris.
No, I'll copy on it.
Okay, Bob Gepper, Pelican Reserve, and I'm going to have a similar type of plea for help. I have been unsuccessful, the ponds work group has been unsuccessful in getting the problem of the Viadana flooding. It's a 21-month problem, where we have developed through Tetra Tech a course of action on how we're going to fix this. We've had a number of false starts, but unfortunately I must have irritated them, because for the last 14 days, no one will answer my calls. So I would like the district manager to get involved and find out 2 things. What is the plan to eliminate the flooding in the Viadana home that we had with Irma, including the water coming from Bridgetown into that conservation area? And 2 weeks ago, we had noticed that now Arborwood is going to be coming into either the Pistoia or Casella or both when they get on. And I wrote a note to Tetra Tech asking them to explain to me how much worse everything's going to be because of this, or how we're going to mediate that flow.
Bob, I checked the plans. It goes into the wetland like I discussed.
Yep.
Instead of going west, it goes north up to the pond that's right behind the entrance to Pistoia, and then it goes into the main flowway. So it's not.
Oh, it is going in the flowway.
It's not going the other direction, so that's good. But what I don't understand is why can't we get a copy of the development order for Bridgestone?
Bridgestone, that's what I've been
And find
asking.
out why in the hell, every other community in Gateway, Timber Creek over here, right next to us, they've all been told, you have got to put in a berm equal to elevation, whatever, 25.5, 26, 27. You've got a third berm, a third of a berm, that
Not
start
even
down
that,
there
yeah.
and then stop.
Not even
I
that.
can't believe, well, whatever the number is.
Yeah.
But my point is, somebody didn't put that in there because they wanted to put in a berm. It was in there because of an order. What I can't understand is why didn't it go all the way across?
And I've been trying to get to this through, working with Tetra Tech forever.
Let's just see if
And
we
you
can
know I'm not
get,
getting there.
get a copy of the development
And it
order.
goes all the way from Bridgetown as it relates to Palazzo, all the way to,
Well, I understand why we did, the minute we get the answer to that, we turn it over to Tony and we send a nasty letter to Lennar.
they keep telling me they're going to South Florida and we're going to raise this weir and we're going to lower this control structure and we can't do this, we can't. I just need to know what should be done.
It's-
and get it
I was
done.
over there and looked at that.
So I'm very frustrated with my friends at Tetra Tech, and I need help.
Yeah, I guess the question is, one of the things, if we can find out what the South Florida permit is or application is for Bridgetown and see what's required. You haven't been able to find that?
I can't find anything, I keep asking.
Yeah, that's, we should have that stuff. And in fact, when we saw it first time, we should have gone in and challenged Bridgestone and Lennar for a copy of the development order and or South Florida's Water Management District and said, what the hell happened here?
We may not have gotten a copy.
It was pre-Irma, and that's how it got by us.
And if it doesn't modify our permit,
We never had a problem until
Well, the
Irma.
issue is the berm is always on the other side. It's not on our side. It was their responsibility to put the berm in. And they did for a little bit of a distance.
Yeah,
And
behind
then-
Palazzo, they did.
Yeah, but where does it end? It ends right at the spot where the low water accumulates and comes right into us. They aren't stupid. They knew how to get rid of the water.
That's true. I just need to get more horsepower behind it. Thank you, Board.
Anybody else?
That is it for today.
All right, action item, 2020 budget workshop schedule.
I don't think you
Thank
guys.
you for your patience, Mr.
Could you,
Kraft.
you roll that up on the screen, Chris?
I don't think any action needs to be taken, it's just kind of a FYI, the calendar. The only change that I made was last year, we had this workshop scheduled. We had broken out general funds, then we had a separate workshop for enterprise, and that went very quickly. And then we had one for capital projects, which was what took the longest, so I basically just put the general funds and the enterprise together in one, and then we'll have one separate meeting for the CIP.
My concern on this, and I don't want to delay it any longer,
Mhm.
is we've got one hell of a growing list of budget items that need cost estimates from vendors to add into this deal. And I don't want to sit here and get caught with our pants down some month from now and not have those numbers.
Like-
We've got bathymetrics, we gotta get the bathymetric prices, we gotta get the sampling prices, we gotta get the GIS mapping, we gotta get the rest of the storm sewer. I mean, we have a plethora of things that are going to add to this budget that we need to have in it. And what's worse is that they all impact what Russ is doing. Right. Big time. So if we can get phone call and get somebody to get these numbers for us.
And we do have some, I know Chris has some, so I mean, as
Well,
quick as
for
we.
one, let's make sure we got a comprehensive list of what's outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed, if you've got something, you should work with
Yeah,
staff.
Yeah.
Bathymetrics, the GIS and the sampling I'm working on, I've got the GIS done and I'll have the bathymetrics.
Littoral
and
maintenance,
sampling next week.
littoral maintenance, which means we gotta get with Aquagenics, give them a copy of the development orders and get a price to do all the ponds.
I'll send that to them, also send it to another firm on Monday and ask them for it, but we'll get that too, that just got added to the list.
And then the other one that Elle brought up that she sent to us on that document, that the sample pond standards revision, this pond identification, I don't know if anybody went through and started checking those development orders. I was absolutely shocked with the number of, not the flowways, ponds in Gateway that have requirements for aeration that we have done nothing. You throw that in, and I mean, now you're talking a lot of money, a lot of money.
And you're talking about.
There could
purchasing
easily
all the
be
equipment.
$2-3 million of pond aeration, not even touching the flowway. So that's, my thing is, we need all those budget items to be able to do the budget. And you're good on staff and projections and
Yep.
dollars, we're good on that side.
Yes. Why are we waiting till July? Why don't we start looking at it on the 20th of June?
I mean, we can, it does help with time though, if we do have to wait for any of these estimates to come in, especially the June 6th approval. When you approve that budget, that's the highest it can go.
And that's
So
what I
if we do
understand.
high estimates, it gives us time to get the estimates as well. I mean, if you would like to move it up, we absolutely could, but
Because we're not having the meeting, I believe, on the 4th of July.
But we're projecting, without these deals, that June 6th meeting, of which I agree with you, we set the budget, and you can only go lower, you can't go higher.
Right.
We're gonna be setting that thing at a number that's gonna be up at the 30,000 foot level to cover ourselves. 'Cause I don't know if I was guessing right now, I'd say
Well, I mean, it would be- it would
$5,
be
$6
budget.
million worth of work.
It'd be budget plus 50%.
500%.
I mean, just,
These, I mean, we're talking about some serious numbers of stuff that's gotta be done. Now, I don't wanna set that budget and then find out, oh, well, we can't do it, and then answer the people here, well, it wasn't in the budget, we didn't put it, well, you sure as hell knew about
we
it.
absolutely can. But that is a time where it has to be the absolute highest, and then we can go from there.
We can always go low.
So, I mean, if you guys see the timeline being an issue, or you'd like to push them up, we could. I don't, I see that as being fine with the month, but if you see otherwise.
But I think it's good, it's imperative to let these vendors, the 4 or 5 vendors we're gonna be talking to, know that they've got basically, 2 weeks to get us numbers.
Well, yeah, and.
Unless we just-
Well, no, actually, really, we need them in about a week, because we have to get this prepared and also have a week before the meeting. So that's why it's gonna be, it would have to be a high estimate if we don't have actual estimates, which Chris, I know does have a couple.
Tell them we're not
so-
making them sign a contract.
Right.
We're preparing a budget, and we don't wanna be a low bidder.
Tony, I thought we addressed the meeting on the 4th of July when we voted on the meetings for the next fiscal year.
I believe you guys did cancel.
That's
Well,
what I
we have to go, I
thought.
have to go back and look at the ad, because the ad set the meeting dates for the year.
Yeah, I
So we
remember
go back and look-
discussing that.
Pardon?
I remember discussing that. It either got pushed back or it got canceled.
So we can go
But
back.
I went off of I went off that board schedule, the meeting schedule, when I was looking at this, so
Was it canceled?
I believe so. That's why I don't have one on the floor.
That really puts us in a box for that meeting on the 18th.
I don't remember doing much
Nice try.
Well, the board can always have another meeting, you just have to.
Yeah, we can. I was trying to keep it
That's
from
all.
unscheduled meetings, things like that.
So we might end up going 2-4 instead of 1-3.
That's why I suggested to start at June 20th, because we needed more time.
We don't have a meeting set right now for the 20th.
We have a meeting on
We
the
have-
20th, but there's
We just
nothing
don't have it
scheduled
on
for the
here as
budget,
a
right?
event.
I have it right back.
What is that?
Well,
That
we
could be an
have to-
opportunity for a workshop,
We can do that.
so instead of,
Mhm.
Well,
that could be a
the hard-
workshop topic.
6:20.
Yep, that's what I would recommend. At least putting a placeholder for a budgeting workshop.
The trouble is that we've already set the budget. That's at least the max.
The max.
So it's,
We're just gonna have to get
we're
those
dependent
numbers.
on staff to put
Yeah.
placeholders in at whatever your high estimate is,
Covers.
and then we just
'Cause
chisel
that-
out from there.
And I guess too, so we know, because we have met, and we're meeting again next week, but we were kind of under the assumption too, previously from the board, that we wanted to try to keep the assessment as flat as we could. But now,
No way.
so which way do we go? I mean, are we
Well,
trying
but
to be
here's the thing, I mean,
conservative, or are we trying to
You
throw?
get the numbers of
Yes.
doing what we have to do, then we'll worry about how we're gonna handle it.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
we can do that.
I mean, we need.
If you come into us and it's gonna be cold turkey, it's 100% increase, then we're gonna bite the bullet of which one of these things, rules,
Right,
orders,
right,
we're not gonna
absolutely.
follow. I don't think they're gonna fall on deaf ears when you talk about South Florida though.
Okay.
Do you want to, can we move then the budget scheduling to the 13th and then start on the 20th? That way give you more time, Mr.
The
Tinkle?
thing
Well,
is that
It's up to these guys to get the
June
numbers.
6th, we have to vote on the tentative budget, because that has to go to the county. We can't move that day.
And
Well, it's
last
not a
year,
tentative budget, what do? You approve the budget for purposes of noticing the public hearing.
Right.
That's what it's for.
right, and last year we had to hold a meeting, a unscheduled board meeting to meet that June 15th deadline.
That is the deadline,
So-
15.
Correct, to
15th,
submit.
June 15th. So
So
June
what
6th,
what she's saying is we moved it a week to the 13th. Does it buy us time to still get it into them on the 15th?
I mean,
That's
I
really
just,
close.
I would play more on the
Exactly.
conservative side.
What are we
If
gonna
something
have in
happened,
those
we could have one
handful
more
of days
chance
that we're not
to-
gonna have on the 6th? I mean,
Yeah, you're talking a week of, from a
I think-
vendor, I would rather not risk a week of not
Gotcha.
making that date.
Okay.
But we'll do a workshop on the 20th of June.
Thank you.
And that's a regular board meeting, right?
Yeah.
It's a regular scheduled
be.
one. But that will, I appreciate that, because that'll give us more time to talk about it than just the two.
Especially if we're not having a meeting until then the 18th.
Right, and
If we
that's
call the meeting off on the 4th, then we didn't replace it.
And we still have the ability to do
Yeah,
another
meeting.
budget workshop like
48 hours.
July
Plenty of time.
11th or
There's plenty of
something.
time to advertise, yes.
That would-
Heaven forbid, we only have one meeting a month.
Or, I mean,
Well, we are, in July, we would only have one meeting, so it's the flexibility.
The world will still turn if we don't meet.
I don't know about that. Might stop. It's gonna end in 12 years if we don't do something about this stuff.
I don't know why we're worried about this, since it's gonna end in 12 years anyway.
Right. It's all because of our little.
11 and a half, 11 and a half,
it's all right. You're right.
11 and a half, 6 months have gone by, 11 and a half.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Unless there's anything else you wanted to,
Nope, that's it on that, but I think the next thing is me as well.
oh, yes.
So the next item is, to approve an expenditure of $14,084. It's to pull out all of this older equipment and replace it with all new equipment. some of the board members would voice their opinion because we have in the quote when we talked to them to remove these monitors. They were putting a large screen on that back wall that would scroll along with that one for the audience, so they do not have to turn around. They had recommended, because we do have new computers about ready for you guys, if you did want something in front of you, you could use those to view it. Of course, it would not be coordinated with whoever's here scrolling. You would have to simply just go to the page.
What are you talking about? New what?
New
Talk about
audio
getting
recording
rid of these.
equipment, and removing these, we have new laptops for you guys.
Why would you've already ordered new laptops for everyone?
Yeah, that was approved in the budget of last year. Because these are like 7 years old.
You mean the ones to replace the ones we have?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
hold on.
we
Laptops?
approved the money out of
Yes,
historical
we
on
did.
mine.
They were in the budget last year.
Yeah.
Piece of junk.
Have we already purchased them?
Yes.
Museum quality.
Yep.
For the
Now,
meeting.
what I was saying earlier is we have a problem with this and.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, you would have been better off probably just getting everybody iPads.
Well,
Erase this forward.
we're going to do that.
Because you
but
don't
then-
store, you know.
Right, but then there was no keyboard, and we wanted to have just a physical laptop.
I'm not having any difficulties with my laptop.
Good.
Well,
Did you get the first pick of the litter?
Yeah.
One I got's a piece.
And our IT department, I don't think they will do anything with it.
Oh,
They're
that's
past that
probably
stage,
true.
of they've lived.
It
their
is a
life.
whole,
Yes,
they're.
The serial number on mine is Lenovo 001.
And
Does that
when
include-
Bill wants me to upload his book, he has to come in a half hour early, because that's how long it takes.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to joke a while ago is a lot of this can be handled by racing this platform back here. It'd be easy to do.
That
Just
could
raise
be an
our seats
option.
up 8 inches.
Could be an option.
Lower yours in.
I just change seats with Kathy.
Give Kathy about.
Her seat just goes down every time.
But we're just trying to address the concerns, and also in this, and I want to stress it, because redoing all this, they're redoing it with all new upgraded equipment, but those mics, they'll be very similar mics. And when talking with Harmon, who's doing this, and another vendor, it is absolutely necessary that if we want this equipment we put in so they can hear us and the recording's gonna pick it up, you gotta be 8 to 12 inches from the mic when you speak.
This may be stupid, but what's wrong with headsets?
What's wrong with what?
Headsets. Everybody just have a headset. And you
Well, then
speak
we'd
into
have-
a microphone.
Or lapel.
Be so much
Apparently,
easier.
Nobody gets close to the mics.
and
Chris is the worst. Well, okay. But you never say anything.
I never
He doesn't- No, you don't say anything. He doesn't-
sleep.
Okay, I have
yes.
a question. May I ask a question? We only have a quote from one person?
Yeah.
How come?
We do, and there are essentially we had 2 other people come in here, and one said he simply couldn't do it, and the second one, we never even heard back from them. And this is just one of the very few people we could find that would do it, and affordable, not on a scale of hundreds of thousands. And they do it for other municipalities, so and it doesn't seem like an unreasonable quote.
Because I thought we had to get more than one quote.
Not for this amount.
I'm just
Does anyone want to entertain a motion on this?
To approve the budget as he had proposed?
Yeah.
The only question I had is, down there on that next to last paragraph, funding will come from the 2019 budget for the Oxford expansion as follows. What are those 2 numbers? I hope that 70-30 isn't the famous 70-30.
Well, that's how the budget is, though. I mean, this
It is
2019
now, but it
budget.
ain't gonna be before we approve it.
No, this is for purchasing the equipment, it doesn't have to do with the budget.
Okay, that 70-30 then is not
This is just how we're
enterprise.
going to pay for this
It's
equipment
it's
for
just
this
current
room.
fiscal year
It's
budget.
current fiscal year's
Oh, okay.
CIP budget.
Motion to approve as requested.
second for discussion.
Okay, that means Kathy, you want to discuss, go ahead.
So you're saying we're getting rid of, I want to totally understand, we're getting rid of this,
Well, that was the plan, correct.
okay.
Now, if you guys would like to try to continue to use them.
I'd like to
assuming
keep
you can.
mine until I see if I
And-
can see
Well,
what's
here's
on
the-
the back wall.
What we can do, because one thing, it's nice having this in front of you, especially if we do it the right way.
And you keep up with it.
and we're going through things in the agenda, and there's addendums, you know, it becomes, you know, like a conference. We can get around that if we remove these, if we establish like a web meeting or, you know, like a web meeting. So we would basically just log into the web meeting, and what we see here, we would see on our laptops. You could do a go-to meeting, you could do, you know, so you're basically replicating this with what's on your laptop. I still think this is easier than having to having to log into a meeting and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, even if there's a way to manipulate these at an angle, so I would hate to get rid of these because they look functional, and I don't know if we're going to be able to really see something far back there, or you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all fair points. I mean, I sit here too, and it's actually, when that's on the normal Zoom, it's actually easier for me to see that than it is on there, just because and it will be much more magnified. We can absolutely try it. We don't have to get rid of them. It's just we did have a couple of, you know, audience members say we can't see, and it does help. You know, it does kind of hold the noise back a little bit. The microphones obviously would help with that, but
We individually don't have access to these. Somebody else is controlling it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
that's the the
Well-
synchronous.
Well, it's fine as long as it's being maintained.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and keep these
Okay.
until we can agree that
That's sufficient.
that's sufficient for us to view.
Okay, absolutely.
You mean back on the back somewhere?
Yeah.
And honestly, what were you
Now-
saying? If you dropped,
I can't even read the clock back
Raise the
there.
floor.
It's too late, put it that way.
Raise the floor.
With that,
Are we
This
gonna,
is-
are we gonna have,
this has to drop.
streaming
So we should be sitting like
of
this.
the meetings like we
Yeah, that's what
did
I'm
until 2 years ago?
now, this setup makes it possible. But then there's those issues with the live captioning and things like that. And I don't know if it's something we want to get into quite yet.
Well, maybe not.
Oh, the heck with that.
Yeah. However, this equipment makes it possible. It's not like if we do this and we wanted to do it, we'd have to go redo it. So, my only recommendation, maybe if you guys are gonna go forward with it, just because I don't know of them having to run cables to these or anything, if you maybe want to do like a, not to exceed 15,000, because I don't know if he'll come back.
It's fine with me.
It may not be, it may be the same, right?
Is there a second
Yeah,
agreement to
second.
that? Okay, we have a motion and a second with the addition of not to exceed 15,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Storm drain cleaning and inspection Pelican Preserve.
And this is for Pelican Preserve. They're on a 3-year contract with Extreme Golf Course Underwater Solutions to inspect and clean storm drains. And they're out there working, and they basically put their community on a 3-year cycle. And Mr. Gephardt, I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, just
80,000 a year?
Just to further explain, we broke our whole storm cleaning experience into 2 components. The first is for the inspection. We have 405 areas to inspect that are either catch basins, head walls, or storm drains. So Pelican has Extreme on that contract for $40,000 a year, and they issue reports. We have our community in 6 different zones. This is to close the loop, so we now have everything inspected. When we get a prioritized list of what that inspection showed, now we have $80,000 a year to clean it. They're totally separate, but the same company's doing it all. And this just closes the loop, and it's within our historic budget numbers. It's actually lower than what you guys are paying, but be that as
Move
it may.
approval.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You got it, Bob. Debris staging agreement with Lee County.
And this was a agreement that was brought to us by Lee County to use the property around the pool for debris staging in the event of an emergency. And there is a 30-day opt-out. Tony reviewed that contract and made some changes. It was sent back to the county, and those changes were incorporated.
It always makes you nervous when they accept everything.
Right. And also there is a 30-day opt-out if the board ends up having an issue, if there decides to do something with that property up at the pool.
Mr. Rick, quid pro quo on this? What are we getting?
We really aren't getting anything. The only benefit it would be to us is if we have contractors working for us in the area, and we're hiring them, and they only have to take the debris to the pool, it would save us a great amount of transportation costs.
And we're allowed to do that.
Yes. Yeah, it's just an approved site, so if the contractors, then they go in and they would set up a little temporary tower where they'd check everything out before it comes in.
And if we do a park plan or something like that, and we find need to be able to do that, we can back that portion out of the deal.
We can modify it.
Modify it.
We can, you know, tell them we're either gonna amend the agreement or terminate it. And do a new one.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And I will mention that we also got in today a check for $100,000 from FEMA, so the money's starting to roll in.
Excellent.
Yeah, Pelican Marsh has received about 900,000. So money is popping up.
So that was, everybody was in favor of that, no one was opposed, I just wanted that on the record. Okay, supervisor comments. Mrs. Flaherty, I'll start at this end.
Yes, I do have some comments. Flowway cleaning, where are we with flowway cleaning? I want to mention that the ponds at Stony Brook are very high, so and it's only May, so we'll definitely go higher when the rainy season starts,
They'll be starting next week out at Stony Brook.
okay?
And about Stony Brook and Interstate is the priority, and then we'll be working on the other flowways. So and Fisher's finishing up the pond at Valley Greens in about 2 weeks.
We got this give you an idea, we got 3.8 inches of rain recorded at the golf course in those two events. And the water level to Weir 5 was down 12 inches. It's going to be low.
Yeah, that,
We now have no room for errors of any storms. None.
And when Flavie was talking about that flooding in the street, even though across at Hampton there was just a little over 1 inch, there was 3.06 inches that hit in that Sullivan, Magnolia, and Stony Brook. And of course, we can monitor that rainfall with our gauge set up, so just across the road, 3 times the amount of water.
Yeah. Mr. Guy, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Flaherty, I thought that was all.
I have lots of time. The street sign, and I don't know the name of it, Timber over here on Griffin Drive, looking down.
Timber Ridge?
Timber Ridge, is that what it is? Okay. The Gateway one is half falling off. Do you think we could fix that?
Sure.
You notice doesn't. Thank you. Now I'm finished, Madam Chairman. I'm sorry.
Mr. Guy?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. After listening to the presentation last week on the new allocations, I want to recommend that we hold off incorporating any of those into the budget until we get to the fiscal '21 budget. I think that what we heard last week was so nebulous on this, I would open to misunderstanding, not knowing who's going to be the winners and losers on this thing, and we're asking for a bucket of trouble trying to get it into the fiscal '20 budget.
You're talking about
He's
the
supposed to have-
phase 2 lakes? Is that
No,
what
I'm
you're-
not, I'm talking about what Mr. Wagner did last week.
Oh, okay.
Russ Wire, he's supposed to
Okay.
have, I understand your concern, but give him, he said, and we agreed, give him till June the 6th to
Mhm.
bring in his stuff. That's what the agreement was, wait till June the 6th.
I disagree, I think we're way too long, we're never gonna be able to have something that we understand and can explain.
I believe you will have that on June the 6th.
I still want to go on record as recommending that we hold off on implementing that until the fiscal '21 budget. Thank you very much.
I understand. Thank you very much. Mr. Banks?
Yeah, hey, with summer coming, I mean, I bring this up every year, and it never seems to happen appropriately. Whatever the maintenance schedule is, Chris, for the fields, can we at least figure out how we can leave at least one field open for play instead of locking it down for the summer?
We could look at that.
Yeah, I mean, really, all you need is this section up front where the playground is, and at least like just field 1 and field 2. Then you got field 3, 4, and 5. So you can do all the maintenance that you want on those, and then towards the end of the summer, if you need to close down 1 and 2 for maintenance. And actually, field 1 is probably in really good shape. The only thing you need on field 1. The only thing you need on field 2 is a couple of spots you need to probably either resod or give it a little time. But
The only downside is probably you're gonna increase that cost about 20% because you're having to mow and remove that same equipment instead of having them do all the fields while they're out there. They're having to bring it back in, the time machine.
How long do we shut the fields down for when we
It's
shut
usually
them down?
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
And that's
Yeah,
to
it's a
allow the
grass
sod
issue.
replacement to
Mhm.
grow and to allow the chemical treatments to take into effect. And then
And
we'll have
that's
to.
about all the school season is closed, right? Around here, it's 8 weeks is about all they let the kids have off in the summer.
And typically all the fields, complexes are closed that time, and then we have to put some orange.
Yeah, about
fence
2
to close the other field off.
10 weeks as well.
I mean, what are we in right now? May, so June.
June, July is usually,
June,
they're
July.
usually back to
Because you're
school
back
in
until
August.
Yeah, so it's 2 months.
When I was a kid, you got 3 months.
Yeah, well.
I'm not going to ask the obvious.
It's true. Anyway, to me, it seems like, I understand it'd be nice to keep 1 or 2 fields open, but just to get it all done at one time and then not have to worry about staging it.
Yeah, if I really felt like there was enough maintenance and that stuff that went on during the summer, that it was worth it, then I'd say you shut it down, do what you need to do. But normally those fields sit there until the last 2 weeks of the summer, and then they do the deep time treatment,
Deep time.
and nothing else happens. There's none of the bad areas get treated.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we have staff just go to Mainscape, and that's who our contract's with, and just find out what we could do to accelerate at least 1 field.
Or just do it at a different time period. I mean,
Yeah, whatever.
seasons happen twice a year.
See what we
And you
do.
have about 2-month gap between each one of those seasons. So there's 3 times a year where you've got 2 months gap. So you can easily cycle
Yeah, so
that stuff.
just
And I'm you know.
Let them come
if
back
it's
and
not-
say agronomically it.
And
it can
to
be
Chris's
done.
point, if you're gonna go out and do a deep time, you wanna bring that equipment out once and do it. I get it. But, is it more advantageous to do it during the summer or do it during the winter? I don't know. I mean, because I think aeration is aeration. So it doesn't matter if you throw
Golf course is
chemicals
good
in.
in the summer, I know
Yeah,
that.
if you do it in the summer or you do it in the winter. So all I'm saying is the kids are
It's winter
out
needed.
during summer. But why, we don't close a swimming pool in June and July. We didn't push the construction back to June and July, right?
Oh, there's an idea.
So I'm just saying, we need to
Cover the
sequence things
pool.
when it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Mainscape Monday and get a proposal and see what the actual additional cost would be.
And do we really need to shut it down for 8 weeks? Do they need less time than that, or?
Typically, they shut it down because it's based on the amount of hours that are played on the field and letting the field rest.
Rest. Okay.
And I got no problem with shutting down, hell, shut everything down except for like 1 field. Because that's all you need. Because if you have too many fields open, that opens up, more things that should,
Is it logistically possible to shut everything down except 1 field?
You could, you're not, even if you run,
Think about all those people coming in
No,
there.
even if you run like a temporary fence and you put up signs, it's not gonna stop people from going on the other fields, but
There's the
it's a
issue.
deterrent. It could be a deterrent.
There's the issue.
Hell, there's people out there playing when the lights go down.
Just put in a landmine or 2, and
Yeah.
collateral damage, and you won't have that problem.
Anything else, Mr. Banks?
No, that's it.
Mr. Tinkle?
2 items. Chris, have you heard anything from the county on the roundabout at Commerce Lakes?
No, just that they've been approved and they're in design.
They're in design. Well, they had indicated they would give us an opportunity to look at the design before they wrapped up. Again, I'm looking at the design books, and those design books for that kind of a right-of-way call for 220 feet.
I don't see how they.
And our
can
right-of-way
get
is
there.
150. I don't know how they're gonna do it. without squeezing it, which means semis aren't gonna be able to go through there without blocking up the lane. But anyway, that's issue one. The other issue, and maybe with the benefit of the Magnolia Lake, or I get Magnolia Landing, Magnolia Lake, or 83, where are we at, or what have you heard is the status of Timber Creek?
I've not checked on.
Next door.
The permitting status. They had that in the water use permit.
We've always been worried, because their water is coming down this way and coming across the FPL easement, flooding the FPL easement to go over into the Worthington.
Okay.
I'd love to be able to make contact with them to see, because they're right on the back of Magnolia Landing, or Magnolia Lakes. And there is a easement through there that would be very easy to facilitate one of theirs, two of theirs, three of their lakes from, instead of going south, come due west and dump into that lake. And we could sure as hell use the water. We're gonna get the water one way or the other. I'd much rather have that water, or a portion of that water, coming up there where it would be useful and help turn that Lake 83 over. Because it desperately, even if we lower the weir, it's still way oversized. Just, it's too big.
I'll see where they are on the permitting. I know they were.
See if there's any interest, see if there's any interest that they would be able to modify and just reroute a pipe. I mean, we're only talking about, let's see, 75, 75, 150, 225, maybe 225 feet of pipe to go from one of their ponds over to 83. And it would eliminate the water, that much more water going south and hurting us down there. We could use it up here. That's all right.
Contact and ask them.
Mrs. Flaherty, you were raising your hand.
I'm sorry, I do have another one. The utility rate, there was errors in there, has that been corrected?
Yeah, we just left the bottom tier the way it was at 50,000 gallons.
Okay.
For
And
the
I-
irrigation side.
Okay. And I'm gonna go agree with Mr. Guy about the mythology, is that what it is? Because we also have to have a hearing, and we can't put I don't think it would be fair for the residents to put the hearing in with the budget, because that's not giving them enough time to express their things.
It's not till August.
But it doesn't make any difference, it's still not, it should be a separate thing, and should be able to, explain it and be, you know.
I understand your concerns. I think we owe it to our professional to at least hear what he has to say.
Well, I'm not happy he should have had it done before.
I understand, I do. With that in mind, I have nothing to say except for meeting adjourned,
5:21.
5:21.
Oh, you're 20 minutes over. Docking your pay.
Uh-oh.
This lady wanted you to have a phone number?
Four pages.
Let's go up to
Well, this is just one thing. Well, here's the thing.
No, green shoes. Anything.
There's what